So I was watching a video, YouTube video of a guy. Don't quote me on his name. I believe it was OG Ruck, RUCC, and he was explaining a story about how black Crip gang members in New York are cool with Latin kings and things of that nature. And I find that real crazy because in most of the 25 Summer series, you always hear about the beef between blacks and Spanish, but then come to find out that there's not beef with all blacks and Spanish people in the New York prison system. So that's what I heard. I'm like, so could you tell me about that? I remember calling you up like, yo.
They not, first of all, right? They did unite, but under the circumstances, why they not united, it's under falsehood anyway. First, check it out. The reason why the Crips, the black ones, especially in particular in Green Correctional Facility, got cool with the Hispanics, with the Latin kings, whether it was Nietas, whether it was whatever. The reason why they got together is because of the onslaught that came from the 93 era with the Bloods.
Okay.
And if you know, the Bloods grew like wildfire. Each jail started with 5 and 10 people that was considered part of that gang. In 1 month, it's 250, 300 in each jail. So as they grew in numbers, so did strength. And when strength grew in numbers, the Puerto Ricans needed someone to latch to. And definitely the Crips needed somebody to latch to because they take L's regularly from the Bloods because they are foe to the Bloods and they've been getting annihilated by the Bloods ever since the Bloods formulated in 9-3.
And they're probably outnumbered also.
And they've been outnumbered, okay. So they always been the underdog. So yeah, this is what made them join allies with the Latin Kings in Green Correctional Facility. And even though it was the biggest violation on paper, because the leaders were all warned and told that we all ride the same flag, which is a 5-point flag. And the Kings and the Bloods are under the same flag, but they fighting and damaging and assaulting each other throughout the state because of a man gave an order for this to go down.
So from your knowledge, it's true what he's saying. Black Crips in the New York State prison system are cool with Latin gangs.
Yeah, they are.
Spanish gangs, Latin, whatever the
Bloods.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely not going to be cool with them Bloods. Because every time they get a chance, one of them Bloods is eating them.
Was this in every facility or just Green? Because the guy mentioned it was Green, but
they didn't commandeer no other facility other than Green Correctional. And Green Correctional was a correctional medium correctional facility / max with a SHU that was max, but it's considered S block for special housing unit, but the general population had 20 to 25 dorms of 90 to 100 inmates in each dorm.
Yeah, so would it be in a medium? Does that mean people have less time or what?
It could mean two things. It could mean that they didn't have as much as time to come up in the max, or the max dude been in the max so long that his classification dropped. And if his classification dropped from max A, he going to a medium, which is the medium A.
But he'll still have the time now.
But he'll still have the time and the time left to go to see the board, parole board.
25 summers. Payphone era, we back. 25 summers. So, with you serving 25 years in jail, 25 summers, 25 winters, whatever you want to call it, you know, how do you feel about people being sentenced to death, so to death row or the death penalty, whatever you want to call it? How do you feel like people getting sentenced to life without parole, or something like they sentence somebody to 90 years. Like, how do you feel about that? Honestly, I mean, you made it out, but how do you feel about that?
The time they sentence into some cats to now, it's like the death sentence in itself. Because if you get a life with no chance of parole, they're gonna keep you there till your natural life expires. You're not gonna get a chance to go to parole at all. Doesn't matter how many years you put in. The sentence was life with no chance of parole. And then they took the death penalty out of New York State. Jersey, New York, Connecticut, the capital, the tri-states area, they took the death penalty out of this region of the Southern District. So you will have to actually travel to the Northern District and to the Fed's jurisdiction for the death penalty to be. But it's all the death sentence being handed out, because life with no chance of parole is the same thing. Some people might feel, let's get it over with now and be executed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay, so what New York getting rid of the death penalty, I'm pretty sure you were still locked up with people that had life or people that had crazy numbers. Like, you tell us about some of them people?
Yeah, they just fade into the system, man. A lot of them, they had 50 years, 75 years, 80 years. A lot of them might not ever even make it to parole board. There's been some laws being reenacted and changed to help violent felony offenders and so on. But if the judge sentenced you to 80, 90 years, man, there's not but so much they can do as far as a charge being revisited, being reprimanded. They changing the rules to the nonviolent, giving you back a good time bill or whatever the case is. 90 years is 90 years. So you got to serve the 90 is 90. There's no like Jersey good time bill. You do 2/3 of your time or half your time. It's none of that in New York. So when that death penalty was in there, the one guy that was on there, Darryl Harris, he was like, he can't wait for the shot to come, man, because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison in the situation they got him in the cell 23 hours a day, and they letting him out 1 hour into an 8x10 yard for recreation for 1 hour a day. He'd rather go ahead and be executed. So I've met some guys that have life with no chance of parole, and they constantly going to tell you that they're going to stay strong for the day that they get out, by any means necessary. Whether they try to escape or they want to get out of there, they're going to get out. They're not going to give up or lose faith.
Is that them being delusional or them being realistic to themselves?
It's being realistic.
Or is that an illusion? Sorry to cut you.
It's an illusion, because if you think, well, there's a few that attempt to escape and a few that's successful, and the percentage of that is highly favored, not in your odds, that's going to be successfully carried out. So it's an illusion, it's a pipe dream, it's a hope dream, it's something to hang on to cling on to, because the year's going to start flying by and all of that. Or just coming into realization with self, being a realist and saying, I'm going to die in this penitentiary situation and I'm never going to get out.
25 something. And nobody want to be getting out of jail when they 67.
Yeah, because that's retirement age.
Yeah,
they washed you up. They took it all.
Oh, but then some people turn old in there. Mm-hmm. And turn old. You come in young, turn old.
Yeah, and you want to live the rest of whatever life is left, whatever years, days, months, weeks is left. You want to be doing something that you could be proud of, man. It's something that you could say, at least I did this, because you're in the fourth quarter now. And the game, man, it ain't going into overtime. It's the fourth quarter. You make it what it is. And that's what they will do to you in this penitentiary system, man. They will wash you up. And these young kids ain't getting the message. Because if you check the disparity and look at the youths that's getting the time and the crimes that are being committed, they getting time to when they get out. they're going to be our age now, man. Ain't nothing left in that. 20, 30 years, 15, 20 years, and you think you could do that and get out. You ain't going to be the same, man. Then you're going to be bitter because they took all that time from you. So now you got a choice to make, man. I'm going to ride the rest of this out the right way, or I'm going to get some get back and all that. Like, it would be foolish at my age now to commit crime.
Yeah, because
and go up in the penitentiary.
Because see, it's funny you mentioned the thing about New York State getting rid of the death penalty. But some of these other states still have death penalty.
They still have it. Yeah.
In Florida, Texas.
Texas, yeah.
And then I watch the live streaming of Louisiana's parole board a lot of times, and they're like, you get sentenced to 37 years of hard labor. You talking about
Angola?
Yeah.
Oh,
you get sentenced to hard labor in these places, and it's like, Florida.
They wake you up every morning, you going through forests, man, you cutting down logs and trees and vegetables, and you doing agriculture, and you working hard labor. They gonna get out of you every day.
Yeah.
And the states that we in, they ain't giving you no labor, man. They done got people that fought for you to be able to get up in the morning and go to program and learn a trade and get this under your belt. In New York.
But y'all are still, doing stuff for them in the prisons. That's for the outside. You said eyeglasses.
They industrial. They compete in industrial with the market out here because they utilize us as slavery wages, and we could never prove that. Man, they making Auburn is making the plates for New York.
Okay.
The license plates. Elmira's making the foundries, which is the sewer tops and the grates that's in the street with the water go down at the corners and all of that. And and the manhole covers and the man tops.
In New York City. New York State.
Clinton Correctional Facility is making these sheets that's in the hotel rooms and the ones that's in the office buildings and the towels and the stuff by way of Corecraft. And they're making soap powder and soap and wash detergent and liquid detergent and clothing detergent.
So what was you saying about the ACLU and Corecraft?
We was thinking that they was getting ready to bring back a class action lawsuit about the brothers that worked in the industries in these years from 85, I say, until the present with Corecraft and didn't reap a benefit. And Corecraft is a Fortune 500 company now.
What benefit? You in prison. That's your job. What benefit do y'all think you in prison? Hold on. You in prison. Corecraft works out something with the prison system to get y'all to work. They get rich. The prison get the kickback. You're in prison. What should y'all have got? What do you feel as though y'all have got?
Okay, the Constitution says that there's no law should be infringed upon that was supposed to set for the federal government. The federal government said that as a New York citizen in your 13th Amendment, as equal protection clause of a New York, we're supposed to be treated equally and fair under the Constitution. Because we went to prison, they said we gave up that right to do that. And so they could utilize us as our slave wage and not have to pay us.
Okay. What does the Constitution say about committing a damn crime to end up in that prison?
They didn't.
So it says it's okay to commit crimes.
No, it's not okay to commit the crime, but that needed to be revisited, and that needs to be have a close knit conference over, because if you do commit a crime, right, and you sentence me to that crime, and then while I'm in prison, you make me conform to something that violates the Constitution, that's a double standard there. So what
about you violating the Constitution to get to prison?
And once again, I was sentenced to the crime that you brought forth charges of me on, so I'm serving that. I can't be serving twice for something that only I did one thing. So that's the only problem that I would have with that. Other than that, I'm in prison, and if I was in society, right, and I worked out in the industry, I would probably be getting $25, $30 an hour, right, working in the industry to produce these garments for you. But being I'm in prison, you got me punching a clock according to a legal systematical protocol system with a punch in, punch out, but I'm getting 90 cents a day. And and anything after overtime, they have me on this schedule where they
Okay, that's better than nothing. They gave you 90 cents, and they got food for you. They got bedding for you. They got medical for you. So you only get 90 cents a day. You can eat the food in the mess hall.
You will probably say that.
How much money would you think it would want? What are you gonna say? I will probably say that because I didn't have to experience it.
No, but if you had to experience the workload, the hard work, you would want it to be compensated for that. Not just being a prisoner. Okay, I get it. We give the right.
Okay.
We give up our right.
How much do you think y'all should have got at that time?
At the going rate, where we don't research.
What's the rate?
At the rate at the time we worked.
The minimum wage rate or the union rate?
The minimum wage.
Okay, what was it?
The minimum wage rate at the time of that was like $8.25 an hour.
So y'all should have got $64, $70 a day rounded up to be in prison.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So why you couldn't do that on the street if a job was paying minimum wage on the street? Hold on. Why do people have to commit crimes when they could have got a minimum wage job higher on the street? They could have got this on the street.
You're absolutely right, because that would be the argument. The argument, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all if a person had choose his priorities correctly and went to work and got this job that was on the street that was
paying $8, the same $8 you wanted in the prison.
And now in prison, it's a primary importance that you get this job and then they pay you this money. But before you committed this crime, you wasn't interested in this job or the way to pay this amount of money that they was paying. So you're right. It does have a standard there, and it comes back to choices, and it goes back to critical thinking and the choices that we make.
Exactly. So you make the choice to not get the $8 job on the street. That ain't enough for you. But then you get to prison, they should give you $8.
Okay.
And then don't forget that you said the Spanish brothers extorting everybody. So are you really even getting $8?
Okay, so now listen. So now you laying up in prison, right? And you got the time that
you
the
ain't
judge
laying up.
You to,
you
right?
serving time. You lay up in hotels, resorts.
When they say laying up, man, you buried alive. So you laid up in the penitentiary. But whatever it is, they're giving you the time, and the judge sentenced you to a time, and then along with that time, he connected the crime that you committed and what you was bought as an instrument into his courtroom, and you've been sentencing under the fair guidelines of the New York City, New York State sentencing guideline. You go serve your time. Turn you over to the ward of New York State, and now you property of them. Okay, but in the Constitution, it didn't say whether or not when you go to prison. This is a state law. This is a state level law that says when they lock you up and they put you in prison, you go serve the time, because the federal government didn't say that. Only in eminent domain did the federal government intervene and said you committed a crime within the confines of federal government territory.
So it sounds like the prison people a lot like the sovereign citizen I see on the court shows and all that, and you don't have jurisdiction over me. You one of them, man?
No, because the city
you quoted out the law. What happened when I committed a crime, I got accused for a crime, or I got sent away. That's it. What about that? Through the little $8 thing, because you didn't want the $8 on the street. You served your time, you got out, you made good, you make more than some people that went to college with a college degree. Legally. Not bad.
I got my blessing when they released me, and I was able to put these skills together and put them and compete in this industry out here and make this kind of money. So if I had to look at it and say, yeah, justice is served, they didn't have to give me nothing then. I'm not looking for nothing now because I'm getting my own shit.
Justice is served. 25 summers.